Joining us now, Sky News Middle East correspondent Adam Parsons in Jerusalem, also co-host of the weekend primetime, Ayman Mohyeldin. Adam, I'll start with you. What do we know about the status of the negotiations in Egypt?
Well, we know they're ongoing, which I guess is the positive thing. In the absence of bad news, negotiations are carrying on, and there were many who thought that they could stutter. And as you've just been hearing, the indications are actually pretty positive, particularly with the Qatari Prime Minister. He's going to join these talks. Looks like Steve Witkoff is also on the way. And we know that Ron Dermer from Israel is playing a significant part, and Khalid al-Hayya there for Hamas. So effectively, you've got a lot of big hitters in various rooms in Sharm el-Sheikh. And we also know that Hamas has come there with a series of proposals, including returning all the hostages, but the devil will be in the detail because the conditions are significant. Hamas saying that they will return these hostages as long as Israel withdraws all of its troops from the Gaza Strip. Well, I doubt that is going to happen. And Israel is confronted by the fact that the Hamas is saying it needs a Palestinian input in the future governance of the Gaza Strip, something that Benjamin Netanyahu has got his face set against and has done for an awfully long time. So there are positive signs. And I think in this country, in this region, there are so many people who want to be optimistic, who want to see smoke signals that success is on the horizon, who are weary of war and weary, particularly today, of commemorating the 1,200 deaths that happened on October the 7th 2 years ago, the hostages who were taken, and of course so many are terrified in Gaza, where 67,000 have been killed by military action. Everybody rational would want to see an end to this, and yet within it are the political demands of sides with entrenched positions.
Yeah, let's talk about that. There's clearly pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu from President Trump, from Israeli people. Is it going to be enough pressure that's open for debate? Where's the pressure coming from on Hamas? Is there pressure?
Tremendous pressure. There's a lot of political pressure on them. You can make an argument, obviously not in the same kind of democratic sense, but a lot of the polling suggests that there has been growing disenfranchisement with Hamas over the past 2 years for what has happened. Obviously, the only way to measure that politically is with elections, but they want to be a part of it. We're hearing from the Israelis that they cannot be a part of it going forward. And their position is that's going to be up to the Palestinian people in terms of what the political leadership of Palestine, the Palestinian movement, looks like going forward. The pressure on them also is because their military wing has been somewhat decimated. The leadership has been decimated. A lot of rank and file soldiers are still in place. And it was very poignant to hear from Ruby Henn, something that I think a lot of analysts have wondered about from the beginning of this war, which was Israel set out these two goals: to free the hostages and to destroy Hamas. And as he said, those were at times very incongruent goals, because in order to release the hostages, as we have seen over the past 2 years, the most hostages have been released by negotiating with Hamas. And here we are at the very end of this, hopefully, with Israel still negotiating with Hamas that has not been destroyed politically or militarily.
Yeah, and listen, he said pretty clearly what hostage families have been saying now for a while, which is they don't believe Benjamin Netanyahu has their best interests or the interests of their loved ones who have been held or killed at heart, and that this war was not fought to get them home. It was fought, again, to eradicate Hamas. What do we know about the status of the negotiations in Egypt from the Hamas side of things?
Well, it seems like it's intensifying, as we just heard as well from people on the ground there. Some of the most important players in the region are going to Cairo, and they're going to Cairo to kind of bolster these talks so that everybody can make these commitments in person. A lot of times what happens is negotiations have been fractured. The U.S. was negotiating with Israel. They made that announcement. No Palestinians were involved in that drafting of the so-called Trump peace plan. They don't even have representatives here in the United States in order for the U.S. to have direct contacts with them. So by basically congregating everybody to Cairo, you can intensify these negotiations very quickly, and you can kind of hammer out some of these questions, the lingering questions about timeline and mechanism and how this is going to play out, because the sequencing, Katie, is really the most important part. The terms have been kind of on the board for a while now. All the hostages would be released, Israel would end its war and withdraw from Gaza. But the sequencing of events is where things have broken down in the past, and that's what everyone is worried about. If you don't flush it out, it could happen again.
I know you know a lot of people out there. How are your friends, those you know in Gaza, how are they doing right now?
Well, the word that I hear over and over again from everyone I speak to is it's hell on earth. Life has been hell for the past 2 years. I don't know a single person there who has not either lost their home or lost a loved one or lost their livelihood. So a lot of the people that I speak to right now, for them, it's kind of like a zombie wasteland. Sometimes it's almost embarrassing to kind of ask them how they're doing. The reality is you see it, they tell you about it. But there is a hope, there is a resilience there that life has to go on, and they're hoping that this peace deal will come to fruition and put an end to this. But I do think that for the most part, anytime you speak to Palestinians inside Gaza, there is really no sense of hope, but despair for what has transpired over the past 2 years.
It's been a horrible 2 years.
For everyone.
Eamon, really good to have you. Adam, thank you as well.